AITA for defending a bride who left her husband at the altar. Trigger warnings, possible infidelity, non-consensual sharing of a sex tape. Okay, so boom, me and my husband attended a wedding. It was his cousin's niece's wedding. I'm not sure how to describe the relationship, but they were close growing up. The wedding was a bit unique. There was a brunch before the actual with the bride and groom. Then for an hour the wedding party left to get ready while all the guests were still at brunch, then the actual ceremony and the real reception was supposed to happen after. I thought everything was normal. At the brunch the couple looked happy and excited and a little nervous maybe. My husband had told me there had been a little drama leading up to the wedding because the groom's family insisted that the groom's ex should attend the wedding because they have a good relationship. The ex is an EMT and she apparently saved mother-in-law's life once. The bride didn't want the ex to attend but she caved in. At the actual ceremony, as you might have guessed from the title, the bride never showed. After a few minutes of awkward silence with the music playing as we waited for the bride's father came and told everyone she left. Groom was crying, the mother-in-law was screaming. It was such a huge mess. At the reception they basically just told people to take boxes of food so it didn't go to waste. Since a lot of family was in town for the wedding, the bride's side of the family was hosting a reunion. At the reunion the bride said the reason she left the groom at the altar was because at the brunch the ex told her that she slept with the groom and apparently showed the bride a sex tape she made with the groom. Bride was distraught and left because she didn't want to marry a cheater. The groom's side of the family was slandering the bride on every social media platform possible. So the bride's side decided to fire back and they were publicly accusing the groom of cheating on her, and it was just a big shit storm. Groom comes to the bride's house to try and clear things up. So the groom didn't actually cheat on the bride. The sex tape was from years and years ago, the groom's appearance just hadn't changed that much, so the bride believed the ex when she said it was recent. The ex was just trying to break them up. The ex confessed to it too. To my surprise, instead of everyone being angry at the ex, everyone turned on the bride. Her family was pissed at her for wasting money, being gullible, not letting the groom defend himself first. Everyone was yelling at her. I thought it was crazy, so I spoke up in her defense. I would have believed it too if there was video evidence plus the fact that she was practically forced into the ex attending their wedding. Now the whole family is against me and the bride, and it's so awkward and everyone is acting cold. My husband is upset because she now feels like if someone accused him of cheating on me I'd just take their word for it, but I feel that's completely unfair. Relevant comments. OP replies to a YTA. I do think it would have been better if she talked to the groom. And I understand he probably felt humiliated getting left like that, but all of this happened so quickly. I understand why the bride left him at the altar. Right after she left the brunch to get her hair and makeup on her wedding day, her emotions and anxiety were probably already running high, and the groom's ex, who she did not want there, walks up to her and shows her a video of her having sex with the groom while he's somewhere else getting ready and they're a venue full of people. And it's not like she was planning on not talking to the groom. The reunion was literally the day after all of this happened, in less than 24 hours. Relationship to bride. She's technically his niece, but because they are so close in age they just say cousin. It being from the ex. What happened to the bride was not just a random stranger saying he cheated on her. His ex, who the whole family vouches for her character, showed the girl a literal sex tape of her and the groom like half an hour before the bride was supposed to walk down the aisle. If someone told me my husband cheated on me on a random day, I would confront him, and I'm sure the bride would have done the same in a different situation. But 30 minutes before you're supposed to walk down the aisle with video proof? That's a very unique situation. Mini update, same post next day. Mini update. Okay, so my hubby came back to the hotel room and I showed him a post because he knows I like using Reddit. I mentioned a specific comment to him where one Redditor asked me how we are sure the tape was old and that the groom and ex aren't just covering their affair up by lying and saying it's old. I told my husband, and at first he laughed, but he started to think about the whole situation, I guess. While hubby was still at the bride's house trying to help with the situation after I left, the environment was getting too much for me, so I went back to the hotel. The groom had been groveling to the bride. Even though he was exonerated by ex admitting it was fake, he was still being very apologetic, which threw my husband off a bit. Like, even though he maintained he didn't cheat. Instead of the husband being angry about being left at the altar and publicly humiliated, he seemed to just want wife to forgive him. I thought this would be normal because the groom probably feels horrible about allowing the ex to ruin the day and hurt the wife like that, but my husband said it was unusual behavior for the groom. Apparently the groom is the high horse type and he would never apologize for a mistake that wasn't his. Husband knows the groom better than me, so my husband thinks it's plausible that the groom did cheat by the way he's acting, but he's not gonna bring it up because of how high tensions are and it might just make things worse. I also explained how and why I felt like my husband was being unfair to me by saying he thinks I'd believe anyone who accused him of cheating on me. He apologized and told me he was just stressed out earlier and he feels like we wasted money on this trip and went to see our kid for days over this wedding that got blown up over a lie. Bride texted me thanking me for defending her. Most of the slandering social media posts were taken down. The ex posted on social media playing victim. Well, not really, but she's posting like heartbreak stuff and those depressed Bart Simpson memes, at her big age. The groom's mother pulled up the bride's house after I left and was threatening to burn the place down, because she was mad the bride humiliated her son over a lie because it was such a huge wedding he had many co-workers and stuff there. I feel like I'm missing something but I'm tired and it's been a long-ass day. Edit plus question. A few people are saying I should show this post to the bride, but I'm a bit scared she won't react well to me putting her business online because I don't know her that well, but at the same time I feel like she might appreciate that most people are on her side. But also I don't really want her to see my conspiracy theory about how the husband actually cheated on her because there's no actual proof. Should I? Relevant comments. Commenter, coming in after the mini update. Groom's behavior is sus. Does the sex tape show any defining features that the groom does have now, but didn't have during the time the bride and groom were together? Say, a tattoo he's gotten a year into the bride and groom's relationship. Or a scar from not knowing how to handle power tools correctly. Something that's distinctive and can help date the video? OP, no one's really seen tape except the bride I think, and it was only for a short period of time. Update 1, 2 days later, 3 from original post. Okay, so I decided to send this to the bride. I also told my mother-in-law who I'm super close with. I'll start with the bride first. So as I predicted, she was a little mad I put her business online. I called her and we made small talk for a couple of minutes avoiding the elephant, but then I told her I posted about this on Reddit. I sent her the link while we were on call. She didn't yell or anything, but she told me I shouldn't have done that. I assured her I didn't use any names or defining descriptions and she hung up the phone. A few minutes later she called me back and told me she scrolled through the comments and stuff and it made her feel a bit better. Then she apologized for snapping at me, but I don't feel like she did. She told me that she felt like a lot of the comments were blowing things out of proportion when it comes to how you guys speak of the mother-in-law and groom. She said Mil isn't evil like the post made her out to be. She also said she understands why Mil insisted on X being at the wedding, and that when Mil threatened to burn down the house she wasn't being serious and it was taken out of context. When I asked stuff like, "Are you still gonna get married to the groom?" she just kept saying it and she sounded sad, so I dropped it. She also told me she doesn't think the groom cheated on her and that my husband just has a bad perception of the groom because he has a hard shell to crack. After we hung up, my husband and I called his mother to update her on what's happening because she couldn't make it to the wedding. My husband's mother told us that the ex never really saved Mil's life. Basically all she did was inject her with an EpiPen for a mild allergy. My Mil feels like saying she saved her life was just for dramatics to guilt the bride into letting her attend the wedding. My Mil also feels like the bride's Mil had nothing to do with the ex sabotaging the wedding. She said that the bride's Mil isn't an idiot, and even if she did love the ex that much she would never purposely ruin her son's wedding cause she's one of those boy moms. Update 2+ months later. People wanted to know if they are still together, so here I am. In the weeks following they made up somewhat and agreed to do couples counseling to rebuild trust. They decided to remain engaged until they felt they fully trusted each other again, which happened way too quick in my opinion, cause like 3 weeks after they started counseling they announced another wedding ceremony. I was not invited to this one. Then this new wedding got called off. Ex moved states away like a month ago. Groom removed the ex on all his social medias as far as I could tell. The bride removed all the pictures she had with the groom off social media after the wedding was called off, but the groom still has photos and videos of the bride in his. My husband said the bride wanted to break up, but the groom is holding on tight, and completely loves bombing her like handwritten letters in the mail, roses at her workplace, straight out of a movie. The bride won't tell anyone why the wedding was called off the second time. She's kinda distancing herself from everyone, which I understand, but kinda hurt cause me and her started texting and being friendly after the first fiasco, but she's having a rough time so I'm not too upset over it. My mother-in-law told me that she heard the bride is pregnant, but honestly I don't think that's true because me and the bride were friendly and she told me before she started pulling away that her and the groom were abstaining from sex until their relationship was mended.